Israel never expected that its attack on Iran would turn into such a terrifying disaster. A country, long feeling superior, now had to face an enemy that was just as powerful, or perhaps even more brutal. The night Iran launched more than 300 missiles and drones into Israeli territory became a moment that changed the nation's collective psychology. That night, the sky over Israel was no longer filled with stars, but with fire explosions and deadly flashes of light, flying with horror. Sirens in Israel screamed without stopping, as if shouting a tune of death. Millions of people ran in panic, heading to underground shelters, trying to save themselves. Tel Aviv, Haifa, and Bat Yam turned into ruins. As Iranian missiles rained down, a new chapter began in the conflict between two powers in the Middle East, a chapter that is deadlier, more brutal, and with wider consequences. For years, Iran was accused of developing advanced weapons, and now they showed the world those accusations were not just empty rumors. Iran launched over 200 ballistic missiles and hundreds of kamikaze drones, targeting cities like Tel Aviv, Haifa, and scientific centers like the Weizmann Institute. Iran officially announced the use of a new missile called Hajj Qassam. It is claimed to avoid and penetrate Israeli defense systems, including the Iron Dome. The missile, powered by solid fuel, has a range of up to 1,200 kilometers and was designed to defeat systems like Israel's Patriot batteries. And it worked. Israel's defense layers, Iron Dome, David Sling, and Arrow, were overwhelmed. Several Iranian missiles broke through, striking civilian buildings, research centers, and military bases. As a result, between 3 and 14 people died. Dozens to hundreds were injured. In cities like Tel Aviv, Haifa, Bat Yam, Rehovot, Tamra, and others, office towers, schools, and urban centers were heavily damaged. In response, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared that operations against Iran would continue as long as necessary. He even urged the Iranian people to rise and oppose their own government. But inside Israel, not everyone agreed. Some citizens voiced serious concern about the nation's direction. They feared that Netanyahu's hardline policy, combined with the influence of extreme factions in the government, could lead to political instability or even mass immigration. For many, Israel's future now looks uncertain. Iran's missile attacks have spread fear and tension across the country. Many now live in constant anxiety, waiting for the next wave of attacks. People stay near bomb shelters, relying on early warning systems, and civil defense infrastructure built over decades. For moments like this conflict is not just a continuation of old tension. It's a new chapter, more intense, more deadly. Both sides now suffer massive losses. The explosions destroy more than buildings. They leave scars in the minds of those who live under the endless shadow of war, with no idea when it will end. For Israelis, emergency situations are not new, but a direct attack from a major nation like Iran brings a different kind of fear. Israel is used to threats from Hamas and Hezbollah, but this time, the danger came from far away, from a country with long-range missiles. This created a feeling of permanent siege, a term in Israeli psychology, describing a sense of being emotionally and physically trapped by enemies on all sides. Nationalism and anxiety both rise. Some wave flags, calling for unity. Others fall silent in collective depression, especially among the youth who now question their future in a land that feels increasingly unsafe. In response, G7 leaders met on Sunday. The conflict in Israel was their top concern. Germany's chancellor spoke of the need to stop Iran from developing nuclear weapons to support Israel's right to defend itself and to keep space for diplomacy. But Iran sent a message to Qatari and Omani mediators. They would not discuss a ceasefire while under Israeli attack. This war does not only shake the Middle East, it rocks the global market. Oil prices surged. Stock markets dropped around the world. Countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Egypt tightened their airspace security. In Asia, Japan, and South Korea began securing energy supplies. They are directly in the path of potential missile routes. Politically, they are stuck in the middle, trying to balance ties with Iran and their alliance with the U.S. and the West. Saudi Arabia, which was in the middle of normalizing relations with Israel, suddenly paused the process. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman called for Gulf leaders to meet, stating clearly, Saudi Arabia does not want a war. The UAE, despite signing the Abraham Accords with Israel, is also stepping back. They issued a neutral statement, calling for de-escalation. But behind the scenes, they raised security at major oil ports, especially in the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow sea route is crucial for global oil exports. Iran controls much of it and has threatened to block the strait if directly attacked. For countries like China, India, and Japan, this is a big warning. Their oil supply from the Middle East cannot be replaced quickly. Some are now tapping into their national reserves and speeding up LNG deals with non-Middle Eastern suppliers like the United States and Australia. Strike after strike, missile after missile, and the sky set ablaze has become a silent witness to a rising tension that shows no sign of stopping. What began as a calculated retaliation has now turned into a wildfire that's almost impossible to contain. Israel, once confident in its technological superiority, now faces a bitter truth that no defense system is ever truly impenetrable. And Iran, long operating from the shadows, has shown the world that it, too, is ready to fight out in the open. But behind the explosions, behind the thunder of war, there are voices we rarely hear. The voices of ordinary people who never ask for war, but always end up paying the highest price. Children ripped from their homes. Parents whispering prayers in the dark. Families torn apart by a conflict they never fully understood. Now the world is watching. From behind screens, across social media, through live broadcasts, all eyes are fixed on a region that refuses to rest. The superpowers have started to speak up, but not for peace, only protect their own interests. The real question is, how much longer will this go on? How many more lives must be lost before leaders finally realize there are no true winners in war? We don't know what tomorrow holds, but one thing is certain. Tonight, history is being written in fire, in blood, and in tears. And perhaps one day, future generations won't look back on this moment with pride, but with sorrow, as a warning of how fragile peace can be and how deadly pride can become.